Big fan of Christmas. We're actually putting our tree up this weekend.
There you
Oh,
go.
yay.
It's like Christmas in the Caribbean. Kevin's out in California. What's
No,
Christmas like?
I'm actually in Charlotte. I live in Charlotte.
Oh, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
our offices are in LA, but I actually am remote in Charlotte because I work on the East Coast mostly.
I got you. I got you. That makes sense. Okay. Good stuff. Well, hey, Kev, thank you so much for coming. When I reached out to Kevin, we connected, I don't know, 3 weeks or so ago, and he just instantly responded back and said, I'm all in, and he wanted to jump on and share a little bit of his story with you guys. So we're just so appreciative. You guys are in for a treat. Kevin is one of the most influential partnership marketing leaders in the country. His career spans, I mean, just listen to this lineup: Viacom, MTV, Discovery, Turner Broadcasting, Red Bull, NBC Universal, and now for the last 7 years, he's been the VP of Strategy and Creative Partnerships at Fox Sports. So just completely appreciative and thankful that you're able to spend a few minutes this morning and just telling us a little bit more about your career and all the amazing things that you've done. So thank you for being here, Kev.
Yeah, absolutely. That was pretty
So
cool. You nailed all of them. I was like, wow, that's awesome.
that's some roster. So these are transitioning men and women. They're in the last typically about 3 months of their military service, and they're with us until they get their first job or their and our goal is to just get them ready for this next chapter, to give them the training, the confidence, the tools, and we love to bring in folks like you to just share a little bit about what you've been doing throughout your career and so they could hear advice and guidance. And so we have about 60 right now. Is that 60 or 60 with us on Zoom? And then we stream this live. So we typically get about 1,000 people or so watching live streams on different networks. So anyway, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the start of your career? What was that like? Where'd you grow up? And what led you to head down this path of working in this industry?
Yeah, I think so first question I have is so the last 3 months, does that mean because I also mentor on the side military folks that I think that last 3 months, right? Is it what's that called? When
Skillbridge.
okay, so that's when like you're done, but you
Yeah,
can't get a job until the
they get the ability to sort of leave their command to come and now focus on their career. So this
okay.
is when they're trying to figure it all out and what they want to do next and presenting themselves to hiring authorities and all that stuff.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, and I grew up in a military family, and my dad was in the Navy, and my brother was in the Navy, and he spent some time with the Blue Angels, and so I moved around a lot, and I guess that's what happened when I graduated college. I, you know, I went undergrad. I was going to play football and golf in college, but realized I couldn't play football anymore because I had 5 concussions that I knew of. One put me in the hospital. So I was like, I'm just going to play golf. So I did that for a couple of years. And again, I look back on growing up in the military, moving around a lot. I was at Washington State University playing golf and it was snowing and my mom moved to Florida. So I'm like, okay, I'm out of here. I'm moving to Florida. I've moved around a lot. I'm going to just move again. So I went to University of Central Florida and believe it or not, my undergrad was in finance and strategy. And I thought, I'm going to do finance. I don't know. Finance sounds cool. I'm going to work in banking, real estate, whatever. And I graduated with my undergrad degree. My first job was in finance. And within the first 5 months, I was like, oh God, this is not what I want to do. And quit that job, went home that night, sat at the kitchen table, and wrote down, God, what do I want to do? I've graduated college with a finance degree. I don't want to do finance. What do I want to do? So I said, I made kind of a list. I said, I love sports. I love television. How do I get there? And because I didn't have any experience in it. I didn't have any experience in marketing, so I went back, took the GMAT and went to grad school. And so while I was in grad school, I did work a strategic planning job at Westinghouse, which is now like Siemens. And I worked during the week, got my MBA at night, and on the weekends did everything I could in sports. So I did stuff at the university in their athletic department, and then I worked at in Orlando at the I think Orlando Sports Commission and at Citrus Sports. So I got the opportunity to work football games. I got the opportunity at that time to work some Olympic sports, so soccer at the Citrus Bowl. And so doing that, I made contacts. So in the business, in marketing, in just business itself, it's all about relationships. So I just kept meeting people. It didn't matter what I did. I was picking up fax machines or printouts for people, and every job led to another one. And so when I graduated with my MBA, I knew somebody uh, at CBS, and they gave me an opportunity to go up there and do a strategic analysis. And I was young, I was 27 years old, and I moved to New York, scared to death out of Orlando. Moved to New York. People telling me never look up because if you look up, you know you're a tourist. So I'm freaking out the whole time. But I had a chance to go work at CBS, and I worked on a program that analyzed marketing and sales for CBS Broadcasting. So I worked on David Letterman, um, worked on CBS Sports, and what I was doing was it was doing efficiency studies. So where could they go in and save money? So I'm going in and talking to senior level, senior vice presidents, and I'm who is this kid? And I'm telling the head of CBS Sports, hey, if you cut this college football tour, you're going to save $10 million. And he's like, what? Who are you? Why are you in my office? And eventually I was able to convince these folks that with the help of a whole team, like I wasn't on my own, it was a team of folks way smarter than me from Yale and MIT and all this. I was just going in there and doing the talking. But they all did all, it was just amazing what these people were doing. And I would go to every sales and marketing and find efficiencies. And so then I had to present at the end. And when I did that, somebody in the group pulled me to the side afterwards and said, "Hey, would you want to come work for us?" And that's how I got into sports marketing. Was somebody plucked me out and said, "Hey, we saw your presentation. We'd like for you to, if you want to come work with us." And that kickstarted me into, at the time, it was bull riding and NASCAR. Those are my first two sports that I worked on was bull riding and NASCAR, and I traveled all over the country doing bull riding. I do bull riding one weekend and NASCAR the next, and it was, um, that's what kickstarted it, and then from there I kept moving on. So.
That is awesome. Oh my God. Of all these big companies you've worked at, do any of them, like, and you look back now, all these years later, do any of them stand out? Like, what did you like about working at like MTV or, Turner Broadcasting? What were some of all those experiences like?
I think, from a sports perspective, it's interesting because everywhere you go, it's a team. Like everybody in the sports industry came from sports. They all played sports. It's rare you find someone in sports that didn't play sports. So they all have that teammate mentality and they all have each other's back. And, with every job, I learned something from somebody. I was always learning, and I still am to this day learning from everybody. So now I'm learning a lot because I'm looking to tap out here in a couple of years and be done. But I'm learning stuff from kids coming out of college about AI and social media and how that influences society. But everybody everybody learns from everybody. There was a mentor I had, his name's Mark Lazarus, who now is CEO of a new company that spun off from NBC, but he was the president of Turner Sports. And he had this personality as the president, and he'd walk into everybody's office. He'd always, every day around 3 o'clock, he'd grab his baseball bat and he'd just walk around and talk to people. And I was like, how can this guy do this? Because he's so influential. He's in meetings all the time. He's negotiating rights deals with baseball and football, but yet he still had the time to not only meet with individual people, but then he would have these moments where he'd step on somebody's desk and he'd bring everybody around and he'd give them a pep talk. So that was always something, and that was at Turner Sports, and that's something I always remember. And I try to do with the people that I work with and the people that work for me to just stop and take a moment and go, hey, how you doing today? And recognize the hard work that they're doing. Because that's not a lot of times in sports, you get it done and you move to the next. And um, you need to take a moment and recognize the special things that people are doing.
Yeah, that's great. That's funny. I went to high school, same high school as Mark, and I was classmates with his younger brother.
Who's doing well at
Yeah,
NBC too.
yeah,
And so
they,
is his sister. His sister, I think, I don't know, I think she's still doing pretty special
yeah,
things too.
smart family.
Yeah.
Can you tell everyone a little bit about what it's like working in the industry? Like, what are some of the different jobs that you've had, and what exactly does that mean to be like a partnership director, creative, marketing?
Yeah.
What does that mean? And
Yeah. I mean, marketing, when people go to college, they use the word marketing pretty loosely. Um, and so working in marketing, there's a lot of different places, a lot of different things you can do. There's sales marketing where I think yeah. Um, But in the industry and working in marketing, especially in today's world, right? So if you're in TV, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of clutter in the marketplace, right? You've got CBS, you got Fox, you got NBC, you got Netflix, you've got Amazon, you've got Apple, Fubu. So you've got all these different kind of platforms that are occupying people's time, right? So, for example, on any given Saturday of college football, at noon, you can watch a football game on Fox. You can watch it on NBC, not on, but you can watch it on ESPN, ESPN2, Turner. So you don't know where to go. So the biggest stress level is getting people to know when and where to watch your games, be it football, be it NFL, be it even NFL now is becoming difficult. Where we, from a Fox perspective, used to own 4 o'clock in the afternoon East Coast time. You you can't anymore. Now it's CBS. And people are getting frustrated, right? You got to open an app to get a game. And that's really becoming frustrating. So being in the marketing space, you've got to be able to remind people where to go. It's not about it's not about educating people on the sport. It's educating them on the matchup and when to find it. So it's you've got to be where fans are living, working, playing, and spending their money. So that's what my job is from a partnership perspective. I've got I call it fan engagement, where there are people that work on the strategy, who's the fan that we're going after. And then my job is how do I engage with them? What fun things can I do to engage with them in authentically in their everyday way of life? So my role is to work with big brands like a Coca-Cola or a Wendy's or a Home Depot, and that ability to walk into a Home Depot and organically see our branding and our tune-in messaging as people are going to buy product, or seeing it. And then from there, how do I create content that makes it into our pre-games, into our games, that people like naturally go, oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense. So it's telling people why they should come watch Fox over an NBC or a CBS, which is a lot of fun.
Has it gotten harder to do your job over the years? Like you mentioned when you first started, there weren't a lot of choices for the person who wants to watch TV or engage with the media. Now I can't imagine how scattered people are, and that makes it harder, right?
Oh, absolutely. It makes it a lot harder, and also the clutter in the marketplace is pretty deep, but also we're fighting against that second screen, right? So as you're watching a football, nobody's watching a full football game anymore. Nobody's watching a full baseball game. That's why MLB has put in the pitch count, put in the clock, put in all the things that they've put in, not only to make it look more like a video game, but also make it faster. It's so crazy right now that the Savannah Bananas are pulling more people than Major League Baseball teams. And it's just pure entertainment, right? It's that TikTok moment that people are get so excited about. So those are the other things that we're battling. Like my daughter, she's 18 years old and she plays soccer. And so we'll watch college soccer. She can pay attention to a soccer game and still be on TikTok and she'll know more about the game she's watching where I'm watching only the game. She's like, uh-huh, oh, whoa, whoa. And then she gets back to her phone. I'm like, how are people doing that? You know what I mean? And that's what we're battling is that attention span, which is a lot shorter now. Like, and that makes commercials that used to be 30 seconds long. It's okay to have a 6-second commercial now because people absorb it
The
that way.
attention span.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a chiropractor. He said they have a term now. It's called tech neck because everyone's neck is
Uh-huh.
like down. Nobody's like looking at what's in front of them.
Hmm.
Do you have any sort of favorite campaigns or partnerships that you've either done yourself over the years or ones that you've seen where it's just like it was a brilliant use of getting the interaction that you wanted?
There's a couple from a pure like just programming perspective. When I worked at Red Bull and we had the one guy jump out of did a free fall from space.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That was probably one of the craziest things I ever worked on. Red Bull had some crazy stuff. We had like planes racing, which I had no idea what that was until I went and saw it and was like, oh my God, these guys, these pilots are actually racing each other through these cones, and it was insane. Those are the fun ones. But the one that I did a couple of years ago, which I think I still to this day think is just amazing, is because it had a connection point, and I'll have a couple of them for the World Cup coming up, but we worked on a baseball game 2 years ago in Birmingham called Rickwood, which it was a celebration of the Negro League. And I did a partnership with Fanatics and Topps Cards, and I reached out to Topps and said, "Hey, this is going to be a really special moment because this Rickwood Field in the middle of Birmingham, in the middle of someone's neighborhood in Birmingham, is the oldest stadium in the country. Folks like Babe Ruth played there, Jackie Robinson played there." And we have that opportunity to go in and have a really special game there. And so they knew a little bit about it, but they didn't know much. And so we were able to build this thing into an actual campaign that they put product behind it. They sold baseball cards behind it. And then us as Fox built a 32-foot baseball card that traveled around the country and had 6 different players were rotating in these cards, and we connected with communities through this baseball card. We went to our Major League Baseball games. We took it to Kansas City, which, if nobody knows, is the home of the Negro League Baseball Museum. And we did a march from the museum to the YMCA where the card was and had a big um, group come together of kids and adults. And we had, who was it? I think it was Jackie Robinson's granddaughter or somebody. I had no idea who she was. And she walked up And I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? And so I talked to her about all the memorabilia she had and what she was going to do with it. But it was one of those where it started as kind of a wow, it'd be cool to do a giant baseball card, and it turned into this kind of movement as we headed towards this baseball game at Rickwood. So um, and then our talent got involved. Derek Jeter got involved. Alex Rodriguez got involved. Big Poppy got involved, and we made them custom, jerseys and did all kinds of stuff with them. So it was something really special
That's
to
awesome.
be a part
Can you
of.
talk through like what's the like the process for you? I imagine it's an extremely creative job, right? You come up with these ideas that hit you in the middle of the night. What is that like? And then what happens? Then you figure out how to put the pieces together of who to go after and
Yeah, I mean, how it works, and this is helpful for everybody on this call. If you're doing something that is just easy for you, that means you're in the right space, right? So what I mean by that is I always look at, and I've been able to do a lot of things in sports, but I never take it for granted. I'm always thinking of the fan, right? If you're a diehard fan, God, it'd be great to be on the field, right? It would be amazing to own one of those bases during the World Series. Or, man, it'd be cool to go talk to a coach who's won two national championships and walk around the field and talk about moments that happened on that field, or get into a stock car or an Indy car, or be able to kick a goal on a World Cup field. So, having all those and thinking of fan first moments, um, that's where it all begins for me, right? So, uh, and it started when I was young. I was probably, God, how old was I? Probably 28, 29. And I did my first football game at the Rose Bowl. And I walked out onto the field and I stood on top of the rose at the Rose Bowl. And the announcers in the booth, they saw what I was doing. And I saw them afterwards. And they're like, dude, what were you doing? And I was like, I'm never going to take this for granted. Nobody gets to walk on the field at the Rose Bowl and be able to do this. And that's something that stuck with me. And that's where all my ideas come from. And I usually, when an idea comes, now you can do Chat GPT and you just kind of say it and then it kind of expands on it for you. But I'll shoot an email to myself and then I'll start the next day, start kind of pulling ideas together.
yeah, that's cool. Do you have any favorite experiences? I mean, you get, it seems like you're probably living out of a suitcase throughout your career at this, going to one event to the next. Do any of them stand out that were just really memorable?
Um, I mean, I've done some things with NASCAR and like getting nervous around people, like talent and athletes and things like that. But favorite moments, I think, like we've had Super Bowls, we've had a lot of things, but I think, seeing I guess I thought Rickwood was pretty amazing. I mean, when I first went my first Daytona 500, I thought was pretty incredible. This past summer, we had a baseball game at Bristol Motor Speedway, and I thought that was pretty insane how they put a Major League Baseball field in the middle of a NASCAR track. And then when you watched home runs, they ricocheted off the track itself like it was like you were in a sandlot, right? You think about and that like it's those small things that I think about when I'm at these events, where it's that was pretty crazy to me where I saw a home run and the ball bounced like it was in a parking lot, right? And the stands, nobody could get close to it. Where normal baseball stadiums, you hit it in the stands, people were climbing
Yeah,
to get the
that's
ball.
funny.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
was pretty
And if
cool.
anyone hasn't watched the Savannah Bananas, definitely watch. I watched one the other day. I was amazed. It was something fun. That was great.
Mm.
And the industry, it's very social. You're probably out at a lot of events, shaking hands and meeting people, and it's got that aspect to it if you like that stuff, right?
Well, it's something when I meet with college kids, that's a question I ask them, right? So there's a lot of times you have to go to events where you don't know anybody and you have to make conversation. You have to go and introduce yourself. I'm in a unique role where I do partnerships, but my partnerships come with it's called value exchange. So I'm not looking I help our sales team, but I'm not selling anything. I'm actually looking to drive tune in for our broadcast. So a lot of times when I'm talking to people in big brands, they think I'm trying to sell them something, right? So they're saying, okay, how much money do I have to spend to work with you at Fox Sports? And I'm like, nothing. We have to, exchange value and drive tune in. So you know, that's going out and talking to people is, that's a question that, hey, would you rather be sitting at a desk analyzing, doing a lot of research, or are you comfortable going out and in front of people and talking to complete strangers? If you're okay with that, then, a sales and marketing job is definitely something in your wheelhouse. But if you don't and you like to be in the weeds and like to analyze and try to look at things that way, then yeah, you're probably better off in like a strategy or something like that where you
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
have to get out there. Yeah.
That's great. Chris, go ahead, buddy. You still there?
Hey, sorry, my kid is acting up.
Okay. He wants to come back to you? I got
Yeah,
Shamika.
yeah, it's give
Yeah,
me a
no
minute.
sweat. Shamika, go ahead.
Okay, I'm still trying to figure out how to work this technology too. So quick question, sir. I know understanding that being in a pretty senior leadership position, what method has worked for you or do you like the most when you're navigating challenging conversations with your subordinates, i.e., if their performance is not up to par or if there's a behavior issue? What has worked for you the most or what do you like the most?
Yeah, I mean, I think being through experience, identifying it early and identifying it and having a real-time conversation about and being accountable, right? So discipline and accountability is a critically important thing, right? Because in today's world, um, not a lot of people are accountable, right? So you have to, that's why I always talk about real-time feedback. And it's something that I talk to my daughter about a lot, and I talk to her coaches of it. You have to have real-time feedback. You can't get mad at somebody and not tell them why. You know what I mean? And a lot of times I don't get mad. I identify the issue, talk through the issue, let them talk about it because their view on it might be different than mine. And if their view is different, then I'm going to ask questions to understand why theirs is different, right? So if someone misses something, and that's something that does happen a lot, and I go back to discipline and accountability. Someone misses a deadline, and because what I try to do and this is through learning and 25 years of experience is there always has to be deadlines. If I ask somebody for something, I'm accountable for asking them when I need it, right? It's like, okay, I need this. I need it by Thursday by noon, and this is why I need it by then. That's the other key thing too. Get a lot of bosses that are like, hey, go get me this, and I need it by 5. And it's like, well, everybody wants to know why. Why do you need it by 5? And what are you using it for? Right? So make me smarter to help you look better. And so that's what I try to do for people that work for me. I try to give them that opportunity, get it done by this time, and this is why I need it, and talk them through it. Be humble about it, and help them through it. Be okay that they're going to ask a lot of questions. And again, if they come back and it's not that good, or they don't want to do it, or they don't get it to you on time, real-time feedback. You didn't get it to me on this time at this time, and let's talk why. You know, that's important.
Yeah, good
Communicate.
question. Thank you.
Very
Chris,
good
go ahead,
question.
bud.
Hey, Kevin, it's nice to
Hi.
meet you. So early on in your career, you talked about you took night classes for your MBA.
Mhm.
How was that like navigating that, like the early stressors of your career and like just picturing it all together? Was that through mentorship where you figured it out? Or was that through like maybe a career counselor at the college or
Oh, so doing classes. It was, yeah, at that time it was just all on me. I was like, oh my God, what did I do undergrad? I was more under stress. Like,
yeah.
oh, finance is not my jam. So I got to figure this out. So what am I going to do? Because I had to pay for college. I had to have a job. So at that time I was traveling because what I was doing was strategic planning for turbine engines. So I had to travel all over and go to factories and analyze, the materials of turbine engines and things like that. And with that, I would, like I said, when I traveled, I tried to travel on days I didn't have class. So I would do all my homework on planes and go do these studies, then get back to my hotel, do my homework, and get back. Looking back on it, I have no idea how I did it
Made it through
because
it?
on the weekends I was doing sports stuff to get my foot in the door. So it wasn't, I just had no one to complain to.
That's fair, yeah. Still very impressive.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Thanks for the question. Kev, what advice would you give the men and women on the call about what qualities when you're evaluating people to join your team, what are some of the things that stand out to you as these are great traits to have in corporate America or people you've worked alongside? What are some of the things in common that you see them do?
Yeah, and I think you guys already have it. Just be good people. I mean, it's that simple. And it does. It goes back to discipline, accountability, and being good people. I don't this goes as well. When I hear someone say something negative about someone else and that person's not in that room, I got a problem. I got a big problem. If you're gonna go say something about somebody not to their face and not in a productive way, um, then don't talk about it. So that when I'm hiring somebody, and I've been in situations where I've liked somebody and the rest of the team didn't like them, and the reason why I liked them is because I saw something in them in a positive light. Culture is very important to me. So I need somebody who I could, they may not have all the skills, but I can teach them those skills. You can't teach them personality. You can't teach them to be a positive influence. We just hired someone a couple of years ago, and yeah, to this day, her energy is great. She works super hard. She has had moments where she said things about other people and they weren't in that room. And I basically said, get up and go talk to them about it. This isn't my problem. This is a problem you need to solve. And this is something you're going to learn from. And as you grow, you're going to be able to teach that to somebody else. So yeah, hopefully I
Yeah,
answered the question.
that's great advice. What what would you recommend if anyone is interested in working either in television or in marketing or sport? It covers a whole wide range of industries what you do, but what are some of the paths that you think someone coming out of the military should consider?
Yeah, I think you know, it's and I just, I've been mentoring someone in the Navy about this too. It depends on what you want to do in the sports world, right? There's different avenues. There are brands that have sports marketing groups. There are teams, obviously, in local markets that you can go and meet with their HR person. And now, when I say working in sports, it doesn't have to just be marketing. It doesn't have to be sales. It can be, believe it or not, it could be landscaping on and ground management and ground engineering for the fields. It can be operations. It can be game time operations. It can be equipment. It can be so many different things in sports that people don't think about. You could be a referee for crying out loud and make good money. There are so many things because that's the other piece of it that with the World Cup that I'm working on an education perspective, people always talk about marketing and sales, yeah, and TV and being a producer and being talent in front of the camera, but everything around it, it won't survive without operations. Um, and when I say operations, it's it's managing the stadium itself. It's managing who comes in and sells food, right? Because there are vendors, they don't just pop up and come in the stadium. You have to negotiate who comes in and sells their food in your stadium. Um, it's how is the team getting from place to place? How is security working? All of those things. But to get there, there's a couple of different ways. Like universities have internships. There are companies like Fox that have internships. But those are the places to start building your relationship Rolodex, I guess.
That's awesome. And last question, because we want to be respectful of your time. Can you talk a little bit about networking and the importance of networking when you're launching your career and throughout?
Yeah, I think it's go to every event you can, right? So for example, this also goes into how you get into sports. You can look and Google in your market, events, sports gathering and HR things that all teams and all sports they create. But when we talk about networking, it's going out and being uncomfortable. It's talking to people. It's being comfortable being uncomfortable, and having those conversations. And I wouldn't recommend jumping right into, oh, I want a job. It's learning about what these people do and what your path has been. Because I get a lot of college students who reach out and they're like, I need a job today. How do I get into Fox? I just put in my resume to be an intern. Why am I not getting it? Right? So it's that instant, why am I not getting it? It's you got to be patient. Got to be patient. So, but be okay going out, finding those opportunities and going to have those conversations.
Such great advice. Kevin, this was awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, man. Truly
Absolutely.
means a lot to us. I know to take half hour of your time is something we don't take lightly. So we appreciate you so much for this.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for having me. And I good luck to everybody on the call.